Catus, Maximus here, this time with a quick review of the Harbor Freight Pittsburgh super cheap S wrench set. These are called S wrenches because, of course, their shape. These are also known as obstruction wrenches. These happen to be 12 point. The short of this is just for a few more dollars, you can get some much better brands. Sunex online has some really good deals on these and half moon wrenches. Half moon wrenches would be similar to these except for the bends or pointing upwards on the same side. And of course, for more money, like Gear Wrench makes ratcheting versions of these. There's also those special articulating wrenches, which I don't have any of. Actually, I didn't have any of these either, which actually have an indexing portion where you can actually rock the end of the head around. I'd recommend those as well. These Pittsburghs are super cheap. They're actually not made in China. These are Indian tools. And surprisingly enough, these are chrome vanadium. I think maybe a long time ago, these were actually just carbon steel, and so I totally avoided them. Just needed these for a quick situation. So with the coupon, you can get these for like $13.50 or something, super cheap. I did get the metric set here, and it is indeed 10 through 19 millimeters, so at least 10 sizes without skips. And what is also interesting is they're just they're sequential. So you got 10, 11, 12, 13. Many times these types of wrenches will be a little bit different. There might be a 10, 12, and then like a 14 and 16, and then like a 17 and 19, or it'd be 14, 15, 17 and 19, and then 16 and 18, just because those are more common combinations of sizes. So it kind of just depends on which manufacturer. These Pittsburghs are certainly cheap. And they might not even work. So the whole idea of these is that they allow you to reach around an obstruction. But with these types of wrenches, I've actually never owned a set until now. It was just to really hold a nut to prevent it from slipping, or excuse me, from spinning. But the real issue with these is even if you do have an obstruction, you have something blocking from the top and bottom, and you're able to reach around with this wrench, many times you just don't have enough space to actually turn it faster, pull it off, put it back on, and then turn it again. But in some very certain specialized situations, what I'm meaning to say, these wrenches can come in handy. So, and there's actually quite a few brands that are a pretty good deal. I mean, even professional grade, like Protos and stuff are around $100 for a set. And you get a few more ranges with something like a Proto. I think you get a 6 or 7 piece set when you spend that kind of money. So, but the Pittsburghs are super cheap. Their big issues is on their small sizes, like this 10 millimeter and 11 millimeter, that they are just, the buckles are so thick that they may interfere. People have commented online, many reviews, where they've had to grind down the buckle just to get it to fit. They are indeed, surprisingly enough, fluted. You can just see the rounding there, but it seems on these cheap tools, they just are rounded rather than actually being geometric fluting. But it has roughly the same effect. Now, these are the type of thing that you really don't want to, at least with these cheap Pittsburghs, order online because you have no idea what you're going to get. You do want to look through a few sets on the shelf because some of these are just absolutely terrible. We can see the lumpiness here. So at some point during the forging, there is obviously some types of issues here. I'm not exactly sure what happened, if it was extrusion, because many of these other, like the Sunex or any of these other types of wrenches, look fine. But these have like these, it's just been hand ground. All these have been hand ground. So there's obviously a bunch of flashing right around the bends, and they just hand finish them there. And it looks, actually, it doesn't even show up quite as much on the camera, but when they're all next to each other, you can just see all this lumpiness that's happening here because of that hand grind. I'm not sure what's going on there. Other issues, as we can see, the buckle on this one is actually twisted some. But what do you expect? They're less than $15. You're getting a 10-piece set, and they're actually not made in China. And are somehow magically chrome vanadium steel. The fitment isn't really good. Here's a 12 millimeter. Not super great. There's just not a lot of engagement there. Maybe try this 14 here on a larger fastener. Once again, these are, although for being obstruction wrenches, that may be a little bit better just because you're obviously in an awkward situation. So it should actually make the wrenches pretty easy to get on the fasteners. It's just that small amount of engagement there. You can just see that. It is asking for a little bit of trouble. I don't know if you're going to get the fastener removed or if you're just going to remove the corners from the fastener. And once again, here's the 17. As you get the larger sizes, and it becomes less of an issue about the broaching being a little bit too big, just because you have more and more surface area to work with. But it's really apparent, like on this 12 millimeter, it's really seems like pretty loose on the fastener there. Oh, it's not like it's missized, but it's like a really worn wrench or something. And so that's probably one of the biggest negatives about these, besides just the real rough finish that's on them. You can just see like these points here. It's really surprising to hand grind. Is the fact that they don't fit super great. So when you have wrenches that have super thick buckles or really inconsistent, because obviously on the larger sizes it seems strange because the buckles on these are actually an even thickness. They're broached pretty straight. The walls are pretty straight. But you get down to these smaller sizes, let me go back to this one, and they're just really rounded, just way excessively thick. But I was looking through and I chose the sets where the broaches seem to be just down the straightest or most even. These, on several sets, the broaching was either really close to the edge where super thin, you knew it was going to break. Some of them was way down here, not way down, but significantly down farther on the beam of the wrench, making the buckle just, there was a couple there where I swear the buckles were almost a 1/4 inch thick. It was really pretty amazing. Pretty amazing that the definitely low quality control, but these types of wrenches, at least the Pittsburghs, are more just in a general use box because they can help you in a pinch. These are on the shorter side. The ultimate story is if you're ever in a situation, for me, it's been extremely rare. I've been able to find a combination of tools or just accepted having to remove an extra part to be able to get out a fastener, where these types of wrenches can certainly save you some time. But of course, only get the Pittsburgh if you're like right in the middle of a situation, you really need an S wrench. Otherwise, brands like Sunex, it's only like $25 or $30 for a much better set of these. Basically, twice the price, but you get much more than twice quality because we're at basically rock bottom here. So pretty much any direction you go is going to be a step up. Anyway, too much talk about these obstruction wrenches. They are S-type. I will be getting a better set sooner rather than later, but just want to do my quick 2 points on these Pittsburghs, and this is one of those Harbor Freight super cheap products that if you are going to end up buying them, you really want to try to go into the store. That way you can get a look at the packages on the shelf and see which ones have the best quality control, because there's certainly some sets up there that were just so terrible they weren't worth owning at all. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody who's been watching and subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. Until next time, Catus Maximus out.